I'm Ellie. I'm 27 years old. And 3 weeks ago, on the night of my sister's engagement dinner, my own mother walked into the restaurant where I'd worked for 5 years and told an entire dining room that I was the family's biggest disappointment. She never whispers when there's an audience. She looked at me in my hostess uniform, shook her head, and said loud enough for every table within earshot, "Don't mind her. She's my other daughter, the one who gave up on life." My sister laughed. The couple at the bar stopped mid-toast. An old man with a napkin tucked into his collar turned around to stare. I smiled, set down the bread basket, and pulled a single piece of paper from my apron pocket. Let's just say my mother's reputation wasn't the only thing that shattered before dessert arrived. Before I tell you everything, take a second to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy this story. And drop a comment. Where are you watching from? And what time is it there? Now let me take you back to the beginning. 5 years ago, the night my mother chose sides for good. 5 years ago, I was sitting at our kitchen table with a letter from Stratton University's honors program, top 3% of applicants. Full tuition was covered, but I still needed help with housing and books, maybe $4,000 a year. I found my mother in the living room. She was on the phone with my aunt, laughing about something. Shopping bags from Nordstrom were piled on the couch. Brooke's name was on every single one. "Mom," I held up the letter. "I got into Stratton. Honors program." She glanced at me, covered the phone. "That's great, honey, but you know money's tight right now. Brooke's starting at state in the fall and she needs a car." "Money's tight?" I looked at the shopping bags. 6 of them. Designer labels peeking out. "That's different," she said, reading my face. "Brooke needs to look presentable. First impressions matter. And my education doesn't?" She sighed like I was being dramatic. "You're smart, Ellie. You'll figure something out. You always do." That night, I watched from my bedroom window as a brand new white Jeep appeared in our driveway with a bow on it. Brooke screamed so loud, the neighbor's dog started barking. Mom stood behind her, filming everything for Facebook. Caption: "So proud of my baby girl." I got a bus schedule and a list of restaurants hiring evening shifts. See, my parents split when I was 12. Dad moved to Oregon. New wife, new kids, new life. He sent a birthday card the first year. After that, nothing. Mom took it hard, and somehow she decided I was the reason. "You remind me of him," she'd say, staring at me with this expression I could never decode. Same eyes, same stubbornness, same way of making everything harder than it needs to be. I was 12. I didn't make anything harder. I just existed. But existing with my father's face was apparently enough. Brooke had Mom's cheekbones, Mom's laugh, Mom's gift for making people adore her within 5 minutes. I had Dad's dark eyes, and a talent for making myself invisible. So that's what I did. I disappeared into work. I got hired at the Sterling House 3 days after that kitchen conversation. Upscale American steakhouse, white tablecloths, $60 entrees. I started as a busser, worked my way up to hostess, then server, then senior server. 5 years. That's 1,825 days of double shifts, aching feet, and learning to smile when people treated me like furniture. While Brooke posted beach photos from Cancun, I memorized the wine list. While she took a gap semester to find herself in Europe on Mom's credit card, I picked up holiday shifts. While Mom threw Brooke a surprise 21st birthday party at a rooftop bar downtown, I celebrated mine alone in my studio apartment, eating leftover risotto from the kitchen. I maintained a 3.8 gigapascals. I completed an internship at a marketing firm downtown unpaid, because of course it was. I won a student advertising competition that got written up in the university newsletter. Mom didn't come to a single ceremony, not one. "I'd love to, sweetie," she'd say. "But Brooke has this thing, and you know how she gets when I'm not there." I did know. Brooke got everything, including the only version of our mother that knew how to show up. The worst part wasn't being ignored. It was the lies. At Thanksgiving, the one holiday I managed to get off, I overheard Mom talking to my Uncle Steve in the kitchen. "Ellie?" Mom's voice was casual, like she was discussing the weather. "Oh, she decided school wasn't her thing. She'd rather waitress. You know how independent she is." I froze in the hallway. "That's a shame." Uncle Steve said. She always seemed like the smart one. Some people just aren't built for ambition, Mom said. Not everyone can be a Brooke. I left before pie. Told them I had an early shift. It wasn't a lie. That's how it went for 5 years. To the family, I was the quitter, the aimless one, the daughter who preferred clearing plates to building a future. No one knew I was 2 classes away from graduating with honors. No one knew I'd been recruited by 3 different firms after my internship. No one knew anything real about me at all. Then, 6 weeks before Brooke's engagement dinner, everything changed. I got an email that would flip my world upside down. The break room at the Sterling House smelled like steak seasoning and exhaustion. I was between lunch and dinner, scrolling through my cracked phone. Then I saw it. Subject line: Offer of employment Hartwell and Pierce. My heart stopped. Hartwell and Pierce, one of the top advertising and brand strategy firms on the East Coast. I'd applied 4 months ago after my professor practically forced me to. They hire from Ivy League schools, she said. But your portfolio is exceptional. Just try. I opened the email. Dear Miss Ashford, we are pleased to offer you the position of junior brand strategist. I read it 5 times. Starting salary more than I'd made in 5 years of tips combined. My hands were shaking when I called Mr. Callahan. He picked up on the first ring. Ellie, aren't you supposed to be on break? I got it. My voice cracked. The job. Hartwell and Pierce. Silence. Then, Ellie, that's remarkable. You've earned every bit of this. I wiped my eyes with my apron. I wanted you to know first. I'm honored. He paused. When do you start? June 2nd. Monday morning. Then we've got about 5 weeks left together. He cleared his throat. We'll make them count. After I hung up, I sat there staring at the email. That's when I remembered something that had nagged at me for months. Back in January, Brooke had posted an Instagram story, a screenshot of a job application confirmation page. She'd cropped out the company name, but I recognized the portal. Same layout, same font, same shade of blue. Hartwell and Pierce's application system. She'd captioned it, Manifesting Big Things. But she never mentioned it again. No celebration, no new job post, no update. At the time, I assumed she lost interest. Brooke lost interest in everything eventually. Now I wondered, what if she didn't lose interest? What if they lost interest in her? I couldn't prove it. But the silence told me everything. That night, I sat on my second-hand couch and made a decision. For 5 years, I'd been invisible. When Mom forgot my birthday. When Brooke posted family vacations I wasn't invited to. When relatives asked why I'd given up. Silence was safe. Silence kept the peace. But peace for whom? If Mom ever found out about Hartwell and Pierce, she'd spin it. Oh, Ellie got lucky. You know how she stumbles into things. No mention of the 5 years, the grades, the 4 a.m. study sessions after closing shifts. No. I was done being narrated by someone who never bothered to know my story. I printed the offer letter at the campus library, folded it carefully, slipped it into my work bag. Just in case. I didn't know yet that just in case would become thank God I brought this. The call came on a Wednesday. Mom never called on Wednesdays. Mom barely called at all. Ellie, sweetheart. Her voice was honey, sweet and thick and dangerous. Did you hear the news? Brooke's engaged. I had heard. Brooke had posted a 4-7-second video of the proposal, complete with drone footage. It had 600 likes in an hour. That's wonderful, Mom. Congratulations. We're having a celebration dinner. Saturday, the 24th. The whole family. And guess where? She paused for dramatic effect. The Sterling House. My stomach dropped. Mom, that's where I work. I know. Isn't that perfect? You can make sure we get the best table. Maybe a discount. I closed my eyes. Mom, I'll be working that night. So? You can still stop by the table. Say hi. Be part of the family for once. For once, like I'd been the one choosing distance. I have to go, Mom. Ellie, she said, her voice turning sharp. Don't be selfish. This is Brooke's night. Everything isn't about you. After she hung up, I stared at my phone for a long time. Then a text from Brooke. Hey sis, So excited for dinner at your little restaurant. Try to look presentable, okay? Tyler's parents will be there. Winking emoji. Heart emoji. My little restaurant, my little life. That's all I was to them. I called my coworker Jess immediately. Jess, they're coming. Who's coming? My mom. My sister. Brooke's fiancé. And his parents. Silence. Then, you're kidding. I wish. Want me to switch sections? You take the patio, I'll handle the main floor. No. The word came out solid. Let them come. Ellie. I'm done hiding, Jess. 5 years of hiding. If they want to make a scene at my workplace, fine. But I'm not running. She was quiet for a moment. You sure? I looked at my reflection in the window. Tired eyes, hair in a messy bun, server uniform on the hanger. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay then. She paused. I've got your back, and my phone's got storage. I laughed. That's what best friends are for. What I didn't tell her was that I was absolutely terrified. The night before the dinner, I ironed my uniform twice. Black blouse, black apron, not a crease anywhere. If I was going to face them, I'd look flawless doing it. At midnight, I pulled the offer letter from my bag. Read it one more time. Dear Miss Ashford. The words still felt like they belonged to someone else. Starting Monday after next, I'd be walking into a corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows. I'd be Ellie Ashford, brand strategist. Not Ellie the hostess. Not Ellie the quitter. Just Ellie. I made 2 lists before bed. Things I will not do tomorrow. Cry. Raise my voice. Apologize for my job. Let them see me crack. Things I want. Leave with my dignity. Tell the truth. Stop pretending. At 5 p.m. Saturday, my phone buzzed. A text from Mr. Callahan. Big night. I've got your back. Remember automatic, 20% gratuity on parties over $300. No exceptions. I smiled. Standard policy. Nothing personal. But it felt like armor. At 5:15, Brooke posted a selfie. Full glam, designer dress, new ring catching the light. Caption, celebration mode. Best night ever incoming. 200 likes already. Comments, calling her stunning, queen, goals. None of them knew where she was going. None of them knew what she was planning. But I did. I grabbed my bag, offer letter tucked safely inside, and walked out the door. The Sterling house was electric by 6 p.m. Saturday, prime time. Every table reserved, every server running. The kitchen was a symphony of sizzling pans and shouted orders. I clocked in, tucked my bag into my locker, and found Jess by the bar. You okay? I'm okay. Mostly true. I can still switch. Jess. I'm okay. She squeezed my arm. All right, but I'm keeping my phone charged. For evidence or TikTok. Maybe both. Before I could answer, Mr. Callahan gathered the team. 12 servers, 4 bussers, 2 bartenders. He stood at the host stand, vest pressed, expression serious. Tonight's going to be packed, you know that. But I need to remind you of a few things. He held up one finger. Large parties over $300 get automatic 20% gratuity. Non-negotiable. Nobody guilts you out of it. Second finger. If any customer disrespects my staff, you come to me immediately. He looked around the room. His eyes found mine for half a second. This restaurant runs on mutual respect. We give it. We expect it. Anyone who can't handle that can find another place to eat. Murmurs of agreement. All right. Doors open in 10. Let's have a great night. I checked the reservation book. 7:30 p.m. Ashford Mitchell. Party of 6. My section. I looked through the front windows. The parking lot was filling up. Somewhere out there, my mother was putting on her pearls, getting ready to celebrate her favorite daughter. So was I. Just differently. The first couple of hours went smoothly. Table 4 was a young couple on their anniversary. He'd hidden a necklace box under his napkin and kept nervously checking if she'd noticed. She hadn't. When she finally found it, she cried. I brought them complimentary champagne. Table 7 was my favorite. An older gentleman dining alone, a photo of a woman propped against the salt shaker. His wife. Passed away last spring. He came every Saturday because this was their spot. She'd always get the filet, he told me, touching the photo frame gently. Medium rare, extra béarnaise, so that's what I order, keeps her close. Something ached deep in my chest. This was what love actually looked like. Not performance, not favoritism. Just showing up, even when the person you loved couldn't anymore. I was refilling water at table 9 when I felt Jess's hand on my shoulder. Ellie. Her voice was tight. I looked at her face. They're here. I set down the pitcher, smoothed my apron, took a breath. Where? Front entrance. The hostess is walking them in now. Through the crowd, I caught a glimpse. A cream-colored dress, statement earrings, blonde highlights, freshly done. Behind her, Brooke in a pale blue cocktail dress, ring finger positioned for maximum visibility. And behind them, Tyler, Brooke's fiancé, and his parents. An older couple who looked like they'd stepped out of a country club catalog. A party of 6. My section. Of course. I grabbed 6 menus, checked my reflection in the window. Apron straight, hair neat, face neutral. Here we go. The walk to their table felt like it lasted an hour. I passed the anniversary couple, past the old man with his wife's photo, past tables full of people simply enjoying their evening. Then I was there. Good evening. My voice came out steady. Professional. Welcome to the Sterling House. We're so happy to have you tonight. Mom looked up. Her eyes traveled from my face to my apron, to the menus in my hands, to the sensible black flats I'd worn through 5 years of 12-hour shifts. When she looked back up, her expression shifted. Not surprise. Something colder. Calculated. Oh. She tilted her head. Well. She turned to Tyler's parents with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I should probably introduce you. This is my other daughter, Ellie. She gestured vaguely at my uniform. Works here. The way she said works here made it sound like a disease. Tyler's mother offered a polite smile. How nice. Do you enjoy it? Before I could answer, Mom cut in. Don't mind her. She's my other daughter, the one who gave up on life. She laughed, light, and practiced. We can't all be Brooks, can we? Brooke giggled, twisting her engagement ring. Mom, stop. You're being mean. She didn't say it like she meant it. She said it like she was enjoying the show. The old man at table 7 set down his fork. The anniversary couple went quiet. Tyler shifted uncomfortably. His mother's polite smile stiffened. Mom leaned toward Tyler's parents, voice carrying. I tried to get her to go to college, I really did. But some kids just don't have the drive. She shrugged. She'd rather carry plates than carry ambition. Several heads turned. I counted later, 4 tables heard every word. 19 people watched my mother publicly dismiss me on what was supposed to be a celebration. Brooke pulled out her phone, angled it toward me. Filming. Always filming. Say hi to my followers, Elle. She grinned. This is my sister. She's our waitress tonight. How cute is that? My face burned. I could feel every eye in my section. The menus in my hands felt like concrete. I had 2 choices. Walk away and let them win, like I had every time before, or stay. For 5 years, I'd walked away. 5 years of silence and swallowed pride. 5 years of letting them write my story for me. I looked at my mother. I looked at Brooke's phone, recording my humiliation for strangers on the internet. I looked at Tyler's parents, uncomfortable but saying nothing. And I made my choice. I stood there for a moment that seemed to stretch. Mom watched me with that familiar look, the one that said, "What are you going to do about it?" The one that had kept me small my entire life. I took a breath. And I smiled. Not the polite server smile I'd perfected over 5 years. A different smile. Calmer. Steadier. The smile of someone holding a hand nobody saw coming. Actually, I said, since we're doing introductions, let me do a proper one. Mom's eyes narrowed. I raised my voice just slightly. Not shouting. Just enough for the surrounding tables to hear. I'm Ellie Ashford. I've worked at the Sterling House for 5 years. I'm also graduating next month from Stratton University's honors program with a 3.8 gigapascals. The room shifted. Murmurs rippled. And starting June 2nd, I continued, I'll be a brand strategist at Hartwell and Pierce. The old man at table 7 straightened in his chair. Hartwell and Pierce? That's one of the biggest firms in the state. Yes, sir. I nodded. It is. The anniversary couple started clapping, slowly at first, then louder. The woman wiped her eyes. The man raised his glass. I turned back to my mother. Her face had gone white. Every trace of that practiced smile was gone. That's ridiculous. Her voice wavered. You don't even go to school. I do go to school, Mom. Full-time, for 5 years, while working here every night. I kept my voice even, almost gentle. You wouldn't know that, though. You never asked. Tyler's mother leaned forward slightly, her expression shifting from polite discomfort to something sharper. She was recalculating everything she'd just been told. And Brooke, I turned to my sister. Her phone was still raised, but her hand was trembling. I met her eyes. You applied to Hartwell and Pierce, too, didn't you? The color drained from her face so fast I thought she'd faint. Back in January. I saw the screenshot on your Instagram, the application portal. I recognized it. That's Brooke's voice cracked. That's none of your business. They didn't even call you back, did they? The restaurant held its breath. Mom whipped toward Brooke. What? You told me you weren't interested in corporate work. You said you wanted to focus on your brand. Mom, I can explain. You applied to the same firm. Mom's voice rose. And they rejected you? Tyler cleared his throat. Maybe we should. You lied to me? She was staring at Brooke like seeing her for the first time. I almost felt sorry for Brooke. Almost. It's okay, I said calmly. Not everyone gets the job. But it helps to have a resume instead of just a following. Someone at table 9 snorted. Then several people laughed. Tyler's father pressed his lips together, clearly suppressing a smile. Tyler's mother wasn't even trying to hide hers. Brooke's face crumpled. She looked at her phone screen and went pale. Mom. Her voice was a whisper. The comments. I've been live this whole time. What? I thought I stopped recording after the introduction, but I didn't. Mom, there are 14,000 people watching right now. The table beside us, a woman who'd been quietly eating her salad suddenly checked her own phone. Oh my goodness. She nudged her husband. Sarah just sent me this link. It's happening right here. More phones emerged. Within 30 seconds, half my section was checking social media. Jess materialized at my elbow, grinning. Girl, you're going viral. She showed me her screen. The stream had been clipped already. Rich mom humiliates waitress daughter. Turns out daughter is more successful than the golden child. 12,000 views and climbing. Footsteps. Fast and deliberate. Mr. Callahan appeared at the table like he'd been summoned by the universe itself. Vest pressed. Expression carved from stone. Is there a problem here? Mom's entire posture changed. Suddenly, all wounded dignity. Yes, actually. She pressed a hand to her collarbone. Your employee has been incredibly unprofessional. I'd like to speak with whoever's in charge. Mr. Callahan didn't blink. You're speaking to him. And I've been watching this entire situation from the moment you arrived. Mom's smile cracked. What I witnessed, he continued quietly, was a customer loudly insulting one of the finest employees I've ever had, on her last month here, in front of my entire dining room. Mom's mouth opened. Closed. I also heard you tell this table that your daughter didn't go to college. He glanced at me, which, based on what I just heard, is demonstrably untrue. This is a family matter, Mom hissed. The moment you raised your voice in my restaurant, ma'am, it became my matter. He turned to me, his expression softening just barely. Ellie, go ahead and take care of your other tables. I'll handle this. I should have walked away. That would have been the professional move. But I'd been professional for 5 years. Actually, Mr. Callahan, I met his eyes. I'd like to finish this, if that's okay. A beat of silence. Then, he smiled slowly. By all means. He stepped back but didn't leave, arms crossed, watching. I turned to face my mother. She looked smaller than I remembered. Less powerful. It's funny what truth does to people who've built their lives on the opposite. I picked up the menus I'd set down. Since it's one of my last Saturday nights here, I said pleasantly, and since you came all this way, Let me give you the full Sterling House experience. Mom's eyes narrowed. Order whatever you want. Celebrate Brooke's engagement properly. I paused. Let the moment breathe. In fact, I turned to face the surrounding tables since tonight is special. Desserts are on the house for every table in this section. Gasps. Smiles. The anniversary couple clasped hands. The old man at table 7 raised his water glass with a quiet nod. Consider it a gift, I said, gesturing toward my mother's table. From my mother. To celebrate family. The applause was immediate. Genuine. That's so generous, the woman at table 9 called out. How thoughtful. Tyler's mother turned to Mom with a bright, expectant smile. What a lovely gesture, Linda. Mom's face went through 5 emotions in 2 seconds. Confusion, fury, panic, and finally the realization that she was trapped. She couldn't refuse without destroying the image she'd spent a lifetime polishing. Fine. Her voice was ice. Order whatever you want. The next hour was exquisite. Mom and Brooke sat in rigid silence while I served their table flawlessly. The 8-ounce tomahawk steak, the lobster tower appetizer, 2 bottles of the reserve Cabernet, every glass filled before it ran empty, every plate delivered with perfect timing. I was, after all, an excellent server. Meanwhile, desserts flowed to the surrounding tables. Chocolate soufflé, crème brûlée, the kitchen's signature caramel bourbon cake. The guests were delighted. They kept thanking Mom, who smiled through clenched teeth, while Tyler's parents watched with barely concealed fascination. Tyler's mother leaned toward Tyler at one point. I caught only a fragment. Not what you described at all. Tyler stared at his plate. Finally, it was time. I printed the bill, looked at the total, smiled. The walk to their table felt like a victory lap. Here you are. I set the leather folder down gently. Whenever you're ready. Mom snatched it open. Her eyes scanned the numbers, then widened. This is outrageous. Her voice pitched. $638? That's 2 steaks, the lobster tower, 2 bottles of reserve wine, and desserts for the section. I kept my expression pleasant. Saturday night pricing. I never agreed to pay for everyone's dessert. Mr. Callahan materialized. Right on schedule. Actually, ma'am, you did. In front of multiple witnesses. He smiled. Also, I should mention parties with bills exceeding $300 receive an automatic 20% service charge. It's our policy, posted at the entrance and printed on the menu. Page 1, bottom right. Mom's face went gray. That's over $120 extra. $127.60, to be precise. Brooke grabbed Mom's arm. Mom, just pay it, please. Tyler's parents are right there. Fine. Mom yanked her wallet from her purse, pulled out a card, thrust it at me. Just charge it. I took the card. My hands were perfectly steady. I'll be right back. The card reader beeped twice. I ran it again. Same result. I walked back slowly. I'm sorry, ma'am. My voice carried just enough. Your card has been declined. The dining room went still. That's impossible. Run it again. I ran it twice, ma'am. There's something wrong with your system. Mr. Callahan stepped forward. Our system processed 14 transactions in the last 20 minutes without issue. Perhaps you should contact your bank. Brooke leaned toward Mom, hissing. Mom, I told you the Saks charge was going to push it over the limit. Be quiet, Brooke. Tyler's father reached for his wallet. I'll cover. No. Tyler's mother put her hand on his arm. She smiled, but it was the kind of smile that ends engagements. I think Linda should handle this. After all, she gestured at the room. She's been so generous tonight. Mom fumbled through her wallet. Another card, then another. Her hands were shaking. Try this one. Mr. Callahan didn't move. Unfortunately, ma'am, he straightened his vest given the events of this evening, and the way you've treated my employee. I'm going to need an alternative form of payment. Mom's voice was barely a whisper. What do you mean? He looked her dead in the eyes. Cash, ma'am. Cash only for this table tonight. The section erupted. Not in applause, in gasps, nervous laughter, and one woman at table 9 who audibly said, Oh my God. Mom looked around wildly, at the watching faces, At Tyler's mother's icy expression. At Brooke, who was furiously trying to delete her live stream. At me, her entire world rearranging itself in real time. This is discriminatory. Mr. Callahan didn't flinch. No, ma'am. This is accountability. Can we take a second to appreciate Mr. Callahan? Drop legend in the comments if you think more managers should stand up for their employees like that. Now we're almost at the end. And trust me, you want to stick around. Even I didn't see what happened next coming. While Mom scrambled through her purse, Brooke's phone exploded. Notifications cascading so fast the screen looked like a slot machine. She grabbed it, looked down, and went absolutely white. Mom. Her voice was barely audible. The live stream. It hit 40,000 viewers. What? I thought I ended it, but it kept going. Everything, Mom. Everything is on there. The comments. Brooke's voice fractured. They're calling me a bully. They're calling us both. She couldn't finish. Jess showed me her phone. The clips were already spreading. Entitled Mom humiliates server daughter doesn't know she got hired at top firm. Golden Child's livestream backfires spectacularly. The comments were relentless. Tyler's mother stood up. Quietly, deliberately. She placed her napkin on the table, picked up her purse, and turned to Tyler. We'll be in the car. Her voice was arctic. We need to have a conversation. Tyler's father followed without a word. Tyler sat frozen, staring at Brooke like he'd never seen her before. Then he stood too. Brooke, I think he paused. I think I need some time to think about things. Tyler, wait, Brooke reached for him. It's not what it looks like. But he was already walking away. His parents were already at the door. And the ring on Brooke's finger suddenly looked very heavy. Mom's phone rang. She answered with shaking hands, pressing it to her ear. But in a quiet restaurant, desperate whispers carry. Steve, it's Linda. I need a favor. Can you send me some money? Just enough to cover dinner. Uncle Steve. Mom's brother. The man who'd spent 5 years believing I was a dropout. What do you mean you saw the video? Her voice cracked. Steve, that's not. She's exaggerating. You know how Ellie is. Whatever Uncle Steve said made Mom flinch like she'd been slapped. Steve. She lowered the phone. The call had ended. For a moment, she just stood there. Shoulders curved inward, clutching her purse like a life raft. Then she turned to me, and I finally saw it. The thing I'd spent 20 years trying to understand. She wasn't looking at me. She was looking at my father, at his dark eyes in my face, at his stubbornness in my spine, at the ghost of the man who'd abandoned her, staring back from her own daughter's face every single day for 15 years. She'd never hated me, she'd hated him, and I was the closest thing she could reach. It didn't make it right. It didn't erase a single missed birthday or whispered lie, but standing there watching her carefully constructed world collapse, I finally understood. Ellie, her voice broke. Please, I'm your mother. I looked at her. Really looked. This woman who'd spent 15 years punishing her own child for someone else's sins. You've been telling everyone I'm a failure. My voice was steady. You told them I didn't go to college. You came here tonight to my workplace and called me a disappointment in front of strangers. I took a breath. And now you want me to help you? Silence. I reached into my apron, pulled out my emergency cash, the envelope I'd kept meaning to deposit. Tips from the last 2 weeks. I'll pay the bill, Mom. Her eyes lit with hope. But this is the last thing I do for you. Her face crumbled. This isn't forgiveness. This is goodbye. Not forever, but until you can look at me and see your daughter instead of your ex-husband, I won't hold my breath. They left without speaking. Mom walked out with her head down, purse clutched to her chest. Brooke trailed behind, mascara streaked, phone dark, ring finger conspicuously bare. The restaurant exhaled. The old man at table 7 stood slowly. He walked over to me, took my hand in both of his, and held it. My wife would have loved you, he said quietly. She always said the strongest people are the ones who stay graceful when they have every reason not to. I couldn't speak. I just nodded. The anniversary couple hugged me on their way out. The woman pressed a folded napkin into my hand. Inside, a $200 tip and a note. You reminded us what real strength looks like. Good luck at Hartwell and Pierce. The tips that night were the highest I'd ever earned. Not charity, not pity, respect. Over the next 72 hours, the video went nuclear. 3 million views across platforms, featured on Justice Served pages, reaction channels, podcast breakdowns. Brooke's follower count dropped by half in 4 days. She went private, then deleted everything entirely. The family group chat, the one I'd silently watched for years, erupted. Uncle Steve texted me directly. "I saw the video. I had no idea, Ellie. I'm sorry for every time I believed her." Even my cousin Rachel, who'd barely spoken to me since we were teenagers, sent a message. "Always knew you were the tough one. Proud of you." Tyler's engagement to Brooke was quietly called off 10 days later. His mother, I heard through the grapevine, had described the evening to her book club as the most revealing dinner I've ever attended. Mom never called, never texted, never apologized. I didn't wait for it. The Monday I walked into Hartwell and Pierce, I wore a blazer I'd bought with my last tips. My desk had a nameplate, Ellie Ashford, brand strategist. I sat down, looked out the window at the city skyline, and breathed. My phone buzzed. A text from Mr. Callahan. "Proud of you, kid. You made us all proud." For the first time in 5 years, I didn't feel invisible. 2 months later, I got my first client win. Youngest strategist in the department to lead a campaign. My director said I had uncommon resilience. I didn't tell her where I'd learned it. Brooke called once, about a month after everything. She was crying before she even said hello. I wanted to say I'm sorry. For all of it. Not just the dinner. For everything. I listened to her breathe. "I appreciate you calling," I said. "But I'm not ready to rebuild anything yet. Maybe someday. Not now." She said she understood. I don't know if she did. Mom stayed silent. No calls, no texts, no card on my birthday in September. I used to think that silence would shatter me. It didn't. It felt like fresh air. When Mother's Day came the following spring, I didn't work. For the first time in 6 years, I had the day off. I bought flowers, sunflowers, my favorite, not hers, and put them in a vase on my kitchen table. Sat down with a cup of coffee and just looked at them. The flowers weren't for anyone, they were for me. For the girl who worked double shifts and studied until 3 a.m. For the woman who survived 5 years of being invisible. For every version of myself who kept going when quitting would have been so much easier. I didn't need my mother's approval anymore. I didn't need anyone to tell me I was enough. I already knew. The sunflowers glowed in the morning light. My apartment was quiet, peaceful. Outside, the city hummed with possibility. And I was finally, completely free. If you're still listening, if you've made it this far, I want to tell you something. Maybe you see yourself in my story. Maybe you're the forgotten one. The one who had to fight for everything while someone else had it handed to them. The one who learned early that love in your family came with conditions and fine print. I want you to know, it is not your job to earn love from people who decided long ago not to give it. I spent years trying to prove myself to my mother. Straight A's, research, a job offer most people would dream of. And none of it made a difference because she made up her mind about me when I was 12 years old. Some people will never see you clearly. That's not your failure, that's theirs. Setting boundaries isn't cruel. It isn't selfish. Staying silent while someone mistreats you, that's what's cruel. To yourself. My mother may never understand what she did. Brooke may never truly grow up. But that's not my responsibility anymore. What's mine is my peace, my career, my future. And nobody, not family, not guilt, not blood, gets to take that from me again. So, if you're still waiting for permission to walk away from people who hurt you, here it is. You don't owe anyone your suffering. Not even your mother. The best revenge isn't destruction. It's becoming so whole, so at peace, that their opinions simply stop reaching you. I'm not angry at my mom. I'm not bitter about the 5 years I spent fighting alone. Those years made me who I am. And who I am? She's pretty damn great. Happy Mother's Day. Not to the mothers who tear their children down, but to the ones who build themselves up anyway. Before I go, here's what this taught me. 1. Your worth isn't determined by how your family treats you. Their blindness is their loss, not yours. 2. Success built through your own sacrifice is the only kind that can never be taken from you. 3. The best response to doubt isn't anger. It's becoming so grounded that their noise can't shake you. If this story touched you, drop a comment sharing one boundary you've set or one you need to set in your own life. It might help someone else who's watching. Want more stories like this? There's one in the description that hit even harder for me. Check it out. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong. You've got this.